Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show!
And good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Anthony Gargano Show. Anthony Gargano Show presented by Rite Aid. Find all your favorite goods from the store near you. Hope everybody had a happy and safe 4th of July. And here's what's popping this morning. Brought to you by Olipop. We're popping off with Olipop. Find your favorite Olipop flavor at your nearest Wawa. And I have mine right here. Classic root beer, and it's delicious. Olipop. All right, well, here's what's popping right now. Everybody's still talking about and reacting to Paul George, a 76er. Here is Keith Pompey, Philadelphia Inquirer, reacting to the Sixers signing Paul George. Woj, before 4 o'clock, reports it. Paul George, a Philadelphia 76er. A lot of other moves going on right now. Let's bring on Keith Pompey, Philadelphia Inquirer, who joins us. Keith, it's been a very busy 24 hours for you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How y'all doing?
So do you go to sleep and set an alarm every hour? How do you, like, as a reporter of the 76ers, how did you find out that Paul George was a 76er?
I actually stayed up like an idiot. I haven't been to sleep yet. So I'll probably just be rushed this afternoon. So if I'm grouchy, you know, who knows? I may get a divorce this afternoon or something. Maybe she may ask for a divorce. But no, I'm just joking. I didn't go to sleep at all.
Keith, do you find out, like, do you get the ding with a Woj bomb, or do you get it before we get it?
Nah, on that one, it kind of was that ding. And I'm like, oh, you know, it was that thing. It was one of those things like, you know, Woj is the man. You know, you got to say that. You're up here trying to, what's going on? Oh, we don't know. And Woj bomb. And then afterwards, everyone knows. You know what I mean? But you know, he's the man on that one.
And Keith, you this was something as of last night you were expecting to happen. It seemed like all the pieces were falling into place. Orlando used their cap space. The Clippers more or less said goodbye, and they you know, the story was there he's going to sign with a team. It felt like, oh my God, the 76ers are signing Paul George. Based on everything that was happening yesterday, you're not surprised?
No, because it was weird. Because like I did a story that, you know, ran in Saturday's paper, Saturday Online, where I was talking to the sources, and they all were saying he was the front runner. And they all said it all came down to what if the Clippers would give him a 4th year, they felt like, you know, it could get dicey. But outside of that, nah, they all said like he was a front runner. They also felt like he would be able to help out with, getting guys and stuff to come here, you know, towards the end of the bench, or not towards the end of the bench, but, you know, the last couple of guys that they could sign. So, yeah, it was one of those things. And the crazy part was, you know, it was a little shocking because you kept saying he's going to leave there. What if they give him a 4th year? But you're right. Once he didn't get that 4th year from them, you kind of knew that it was a foregone conclusion. I also think, Orlando felt the same way. That's the reason why they just said, okay, we got to go with plan B with KCP, because everyone knew that Paul George was coming here at that point.
So take us back a little bit. Shams had the report at some point last week that said, and I have it right here, that said that the 76ers' interest in pursuing Paul George has significantly waned in recent days. And we know sometimes information is put out there to be put out there for a reason. Daryl Morey's trying to get Paul George's attention, whatever it is. Did something change? Did teams drop out of the sweepstakes? Like, what changed? Because I at that point, I thought Paul George was going to have more options. And if he had more options, I didn't think he was going to end up in Philadelphia with the 76ers. So what changed in a week, if anything?
That's a crazy report too, because I remember when it did come out, like I took and texted a couple people and I was like, is this true? And they're like, unless you're in a rush to get something out there, I would leave it alone. And I was like, really? They're like, yeah, I would leave it alone. I think what probably could have happened was you got to realize, remember, it was like 2 days where, there was a report about Paul George talking about, yeah, you have to talk to people to find out what's going on. You can't trust people. And then the next day he was on his podcast and he said, he was like, I don't care about winning the championship. It's all about, finding the perfect fit. Now, what I think would probably happen is the Sixers probably did put that out, somebody with the Sixers, and they basically wanted to say, hey, Paul, what is it now? Like, what do you really want to do? Do you really want to come here or not, or get it out there to the situation? Because if not, we're going to move on. You know what I mean? Because then after that point, if you notice, we were all thinking about, why would they go after Jared McCain as opposed to going after bigger wings? And now you realize they knew that they were going to get Paul George. So I feel like sometimes you put stuff out there in the media to see how this person really feels. And I'm pretty sure somebody probably from his camp reached out to the Sixers and like, hey, are you guys really moving forward? Are you really moving forward? So I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and I mean, my read on the situation was they were being told he's probably not signing here. I was actually off. It was the other way around. They were trying to be like, hey, listen, we want you if you want to come here. And I guess ultimately, the Clippers not willing to do a fourth year, and that was it. Because there was really nobody else involved. So I think if the Clippers give him that fourth year, he stays. But Sixers were the best option at that point. So sometimes it's good to be lucky sometimes. Daryl Morey set it up to where you were going to have the cap space, and there just wasn't enough interest around the NBA to where it made sense for Paul George to go there. So the 76ers get it. Does this immediately make them a title contender for you, Keith? A true title contender?
I don't know yet. I mean, I don't. I do think that at worst, they're the third best team in the East. But I don't know about title contender yet because I have to see like what else they're going to get on that roster. Now, again, I do like Paul George. I do like Embiid. I love Drummond coming back, for the same reasons that you guys talked about before I came on. But I have to see how this roster is going to flush out. Now, here's a guy that, Daryl Morey wanted for a while, Eric Gordon. I want to see how much he has left in the tank. What is his role going to be? Also, I want to know who's going to be the backup point guard. So how are you going to utilize Paul George? Like right now, they don't have a power forward. So are you going to like say, hey, Paul, which I don't think it's going to work. You're going to be a hybrid four. You know what I mean? So I think that once I figure out like who's going to be their point guard or backup point guard, so to speak, and who's going to be the four. And the only reason why I'm saying that, y'all, is because yes, I see that Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid are a great trio. But when I look at other teams, and I'm talking about the Knicks, I'm talking about Boston, they're a whole lot deeper. You know what I mean? And especially the Knicks. So, to me, yes, they are better, but I just have to see what else they have going with those guys before I can make that, statement.
Hey, Keith, speaking of fours, Windy, I guess this morning is saying Jazz are finally going to trade Lauri Markkanen and are looking to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Sixers have the assets, and can they fit him under the cap or squeeze him in financially?
Wow, that's crazy. I mean,
no.
I know they got those draft picks, but the thing is I think it's going to be tough. And the reason why it's going to be tough is because you look and you see like what the market is nowadays. I mean, you look at what they gave up all those draft picks for Mikal Bridges, who is a great player, but he's not an all-star. You look and see what, they did for other players. I feel like, I would go after him hard, but at the same time, I don't know if you have the same as other teams will for him. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like when we look at the Sixers draft picks, and everybody says, yeah, they got 3 to 4 draft picks. Well, the Sixers are trying to be a championship team. So their picks that they own aren't going to be that good comparable to somebody else is having the Detroit Pistons or the Brooklyn Nets picks. So you have to factor that one in as well. So, he would be great. I really think he would. But at the same time, like, I don't know if the Sixers have enough. No.
Hey, Keith, JP here. With that being said, what could be a viable option at power forward?
Yeah, it's a great one. You know what? To me, I'm a little disappointed for the Sixers that Nico Batum isn't coming back.
Yeah.
Because I felt like for what they had, he was like the perfect fit. You know what I mean? Because what you need is whoever the option is. To me, it has to be a guy who his role is to stay out of the way, be quiet, and just grab rebounds and do all the dirty things, and just be a glue guy. So to me is when I'm thinking, like, my whole belief was they're going to get this guy. They're going to do whatever they can to get him because they need these type of glue guys to help out, So I can't really say a guy offhand. Like, you know what? Okay, I'll say it. And I don't know let's say if somehow, some way you can get like a Bobby Portis type of guy, you know what I mean? And the reason why, because you know what, you got 3 stars, and you especially have Maxey. Now I know Drummond's tough and all that, and Embiid could hold his own, but you need one of those dudes who's going to play with them. That's going to be also an enforcer, that where nobody's going to knock Maxey around and not going to go after George, and they're going to think twice about going after Embiid as well. So I feel like if you got like a Bobby Portis guy, a guy who's gritty, tough, who can also knock down a shot, to me, that would be the best type of player to have there. And if you have that type of player, then I will say it's championship or bust for the Sixers.
I like that.
Well, Keith Pompey of the Philadelphia Inquirer, and the show today sponsored by Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. Visit your local Rite Aid today. Stock up on allergy relief, catch up on immunizations for RSV, shingles, and I know VG has shingles and more. Walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com.
I got the vaccine, man. I'm good.
My wife has had shingles before. It's not like it's I was like shocked, being like, of course you do. She stepped on it, and last week she stepped on a bee, Keith, at a birthday party. She's playing volleyball, stepped on a bee. I'm at Rite Aid yesterday getting antibiotic for her because her foot has blown up and is now infected. Wow. So yes. So Rite Aid's a good sponsor.
Great sponsor, right? Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this, because earlier you talked about recruiting, and you're right. Now at this point, you're going to have to convince guys that are more or less playing for a 1-year contract, maybe a veteran minimum or something like that. Why should you come play for the 76ers? We didn't mention Kelly Oubre's coming back, 2 years, $16 million. We mentioned Andre Drummond. Tyrese Maxey gets his contract now. At least that's being reported. So there's a lot of other moves that we didn't mention here. The Maxey thing's not a surprise. We knew it was coming. Sixers were going to sign players at first, but so overall, with everything they've done, Paul George, Drummond, Oubre back 2 years, $16 million. I really like that signing. Big thumbs up so far for the Sixers?
Oh, a huge thumbs up. I mean, the thing about it is when we talk about Drummond, let's face it, Drummond is arguably, and they had the process, they did all those other things, but Drummond was arguably the best backup center they had for Embiid, right? I mean, he's a guy that, he could come in, he can grab rebounds. He knows his role. He tries not to do too much. And then when Embiid is out, you kind of sort of, I'm not going to say you don't miss a beat because you can't replace Embiid, but he's not a liability out there. And they've been trying to get him. Last year they thought they had a trade for him and they couldn't get him. Now, the one thing about Eric Gordon, people forget, back during the 2022 draft, they were trying to trade Matisse Thybulle to get in a 3-team trade to get Eric Gordon, and they couldn't do it. Now, we'll find out if it's 2 years too late, but at the same time, they were trying to get him. So these are all kind of like glue guys. And when you have superstars, these are the type of guys you have. But the one guy I like the most coming back is Kelly Oubre. I felt like that Kelly Oubre last year, and I love Tobias, but there was times where Kelly outplayed him, and the reason why he outplayed him is because he understood that in order for me to be extremely impactful, I have to be aggressive. I have to follow the ball. I have to do a lot of different things. And that's what he did. They didn't have to run plays for him. So when you look at a guy like that, and not only this, Kelly Oubre can play the 2, he can play the 3. So he's extremely versatile for this team in regards to, if they don't get a 2 guard and they want Paul George to play the 3. So I feel like, Kelly was vital and key for them.
Hey, Keith, I got a Woj bomb coming. Tobias signed, or he's agreed in principle. What do you think his numbers are for 2 years?
20?
Don't cheat.
Nah, he who did he sign with, the Spurs?
Detroit.
And that was rumored to be happening. They need to use the cap space on something.
$52 million for 2 years.
Oh, come on. They need to use that cap space, and they like him.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, good for him.
Good one, yeah, that's a good one for him.
Yeah, it is.
Now, you're up, Keith, you're up late. You're waiting for information. How many times did you watch a Jared McCain TikTok video while you were up waiting to see if news happened?
Man, I'm going to tell y'all about Jared McCain. I'm going to tell y'all about Jared McCain. So I come home, the next morning after the draft, my daughter, she's like 13. She's not really into basketball. And she's like, how was the draft, Daddy? I'm like, oh, it was okay. And then she's like, oh, so they drafted Jared McCain. I'm like, what do you know about it? Who doesn't know him? He's on TikTok. You need to follow him. I want a Jared McCain jersey. What number is he? And I'm like, really? So then I start following him, and I'm like, looking at him, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I see it. But,
he's good.
But yeah, dude, it's like you get it, and then you get to a point, and it's like, okay, let me see what else he did. This and that. But yeah, he's different. I mean, in a good way, I guess.
In a good way, yeah. How does he fit in to this team? Because, like you had said, I mean, they're trying to win a championship this year, next year. He's a young player. How does he fit in year one?
You know what? With the addition of Paul George and the guys that they have, I think that his role is going to be coming off the bench, getting shots off. Coming off screens, doing whatever he can. I think that, his role is to be like the designated shooter, so to speak, a guy who can stretch the floor. I think that's what we'll see. I don't think that we'll see him now. Maybe he can develop into that role, but I don't think initially we're going to see him getting a lot of minutes on the floor with Maxey, because it looks like it's going to be a defensive liability, at least early on. I mean, 2 small guards. Yeah. But I look at him as, because the guy can shoot. I mean, I look at him as like a Seth Curry type of role, someone like that, coming off of screens, hitting threes.
There you go. Well, Keith Pompey's daughter is a big TikTok fan of Jared McCain. So is VG. I don't know if you know this, but VG has been I'll say, copying
paying tribute to him.
Paying tribute to
Homage.
him by doing his, so that you're replicating his dance on TikTok. Yeah, and he's getting like 1 million views. VG's getting 1 million views.
500,000.
Yeah, 500,000. It's a lot.
I'm gonna tell everybody. We went to the same high school, so I'm gonna tell everybody about that now.
Yeah, you used to see me at those North Catholic dances. I had some moves back then, man.
Yeah. Now you definitely have to go to Wildwood now. You're like, go ahead, man. Get on top of the bar and do it.
Yeah, we'll do it at Keenan's down in North Wildwood.
All right, well, listen, a lot more is happening with the 76ers, so you want to make sure you're glued to Keith's coverage. Check him out on Twitter, Philadelphia Inquirer, Inquirer.com, and everything else. Always great having you on, bro. And let us know if something's going down. Let us know, all right?
All right, have a good one, my man.
Thanks, Keith. There he is.
See you, Keith.
All right, guys, I hope you guys had a fun 4th of July, and I'm sure you guys are maybe a little tired of the pool or the beach or whatever it may be, and you want some things to do. Well, consider some events. And when you're thinking about events, consider the Game Time app. It's my app of choice for all of our ticket buying, whatever it may be for some of these big events. If you are a Philadelphia Union fan, we have the big rivalry match this upcoming Saturday, the Red Bull coming to town in Chester, Pennsylvania. And so I'll be down there and I'll be looking at the Game Time app right before the game. It's my favorite app because, number one, it's a free app. We love free, right? But stress buying for tickets no longer exists with the Game Time app. You can head on down to Subaru Park, tailgate in Lot C, have a couple beverages, and right before the match starts, go right on into the app and you can find the best prices. I guarantee it. All right, guys. And you don't have to do it for soccer. Obviously, when the Phillies come back from the road trip over in Atlanta, you can use it for some of those Phillies games as well. Download the app here today. You can check out the seats before buying, and before you even hit the checkout page, you will see all the fees that you'll be paying right then and there. Nothing better than that. And guys, for all of our baseball fans especially, we have you hooked up with that promo code, ladies and gentlemen. If you download the Game Time app here today, if you create an account as well, use that promo code PHLY. We always hook you up with that, guys. This will get you $20 off your first purchase through the Game Time app, guys. There's nothing better than that. Guys, it's beer money right there, $20. So next time you head to a sporting event or a concert, consider our friends over at the Game Time app.
All right, True Fan Travel, everybody, listen. You want to go check out sports everywhere, right? Your passport to the world of sports. Over 8,000 fans have traveled to over 145 plus trips with True Fan Travel. Don't just watch the game, live it. And we're talking about the most sought-after games worldwide. Football, baseball, basketball, soccer, and more. Custom travel packages that include tickets, 4 to 5-star accommodations, local unique experiences, making it an unforgettable sports getaway. This isn't a cookie-cutter type thing, everybody. Exclusive meet and greets with former players, shake hands, snap photos, share moments with legendary former players of your favorite sports. And the reason why you go through True Fan Travel, hassle-free. It's planned by travel experts to make sure every detail is covered, from game days to excursions and more. And you're exploring a wide selection of destinations featuring iconic sports cities and hidden gems where the spirit of the game comes alive. Your trusted travel partner for professional sporting events around the world is True Fan Travel. So visit truefantravel.com to learn more and to find your next adventure. The big story sponsored by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY or just stop into your local branch today to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today. And the big story, man, the Flyers in their draft and so far in their offseason with PHLY Broad Street Hockey, Bill Matz. All right, so Bill Matz is here.
Billy.
As Broad Street Hockey, as always. Oh, look at him. Oh, man. And he's down C aisle. What's up, Bill?
What's up, Johnny Marks?
All right, so I guess the question is, and I was texting with you, and by the way, the last text that we had sent, you were texting me about Strawbridge and Clothier in the Deptford Mall.
Wow.
So it must have been some radio conversation I was having about Strawbridge and Clothier. So I'm like, holy crap, I haven't texted with Bill a lot. What's up, dude?
Oh, just down here in Sea Isle, and got the niece and nephew running around the house, so I got to record this like I'm about to say something that gets me disinvited from Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's a veteran move because there's nowhere you can go in that house where you're not going to be interrupted, where you're not going to lose cell service or something, where somebody's not going to yell and scream. Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I showed the kids Jaws, so they haven't slept, so not everyone's real happy with me in there anyway.
Well, the big story brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union presents the Anthony Gargano Show, TrueMark.com/PHLY. All right, so listen, I keep it simple here, Bill Matz. Thumbs up or thumbs down so far for the Flyers?
It's thumbs up pending. That's my take on this. The draft was surprising at first. They're sitting there at 12. One of the players who was supposed to go in the top 5, maybe 6 or 7, Zeev Buiam, is on the board, and they say, we're passing. They trade down one spot, bank a third-round pick for next year. They seem to like next year's draft a whole lot better than this year's. And then they take a little bit off the board, Jet Luchenko in the first round. Very fast young center. He's only 17 years old still for another 2 months, I believe. He doesn't turn 18. His best stat attribute is his speed. I've wanted the Flyers to be faster for, I don't know, 30 years now. So I like that idea, but it's just a little surprising they didn't go a bit more chalk. We all go through the draft process in every sport. We familiarize ourselves with certain guys. We read the mocks. And then when teams go off board a little, well, we go, what the hell are they doing? But I see where they're going with this. They think it fills a need, both at a position, center that they need badly, and team speed.
Right. So in reading, it seems like the Flyers had some interest in moving up, but the price was too exorbitant, and then they just couldn't get the player. They decided they were going to stand pat, and then once a couple of the players that they liked went off the board, that's when they decided to trade down. You think it was a mistake not giving up? I had read maybe 3 first-round draft picks to get up there and get a player they were looking for.
You know, at first I thought, Danny, just do the deal because, listen, you know the business we're in. Do something interesting for me. But that seems like a lot, especially when it's going to cost you next year's first-round picks. By all accounts, next year's draft is deeper. It's better. It's a little boring that they're kicking the can down to next year, but it does kind of tell you they're more committed to the rebuild than maybe GMs and organizations of the past had been. Ron Hextall had the idea, it's going to take a while. We're going to accumulate assets, but he never really did anything to make that happen. This is part of that. We're actually going to rebuild mindset.
Bill, it's good to see you after 2 days. It was fun doing the draft party at Chickies and Pete's. Good seeing you, brother. So, off of John's point there, because I saw Charlie's tweet as well on that night, was Berkeley Caton the center? Was he the one that possibly the Flyers were considering trading up for?
I think there was a couple of players they had in mind. Berkeley Caton, definitely one of them. I think Sam Dickinson, the big defenseman from the London Knights, was another player they were very interested in. He comes off at 11, and I think that's probably when they made the decision, all right, we're trading down because we can't get the last guy on our board of like the tier 1 players. I do think there was some interest in a couple of those guys, and apparently, Zeev Boehm was not in that tier of players. So they decided, you know what, we'll just, for a 3rd-round pick next year, we'll gladly pass on this player and pick one player back.
Yeah, Bill, does it worry you? Because I had read some of the thought that went into passing on Boehm was that they already have small defensive players in the system, but it doesn't mean any of those are going to bust through and make it. So if you have a guy with talent, I don't know. It seems the grades are horrible. If you read the industry grades, they're getting C+, D+. Is it a concern when you have Briere? It seems like they're like the smartest guy in the room right now compared to everybody else. And is that worrisome?
It's a little worrisome, just like, okay, Jamie Drysdale, he was the 6th overall pick. You traded Cutter Gauthier for him. You don't want redundancy with him. Okay. You look at some of the other guys, Cam York does not have high-end offensive upside. He just doesn't. If he did, we would have seen it by now. He's in his mid-20s. Emile Andre, he's still with the Phantoms. There's no guarantee he's ever a regular in this lineup, let alone an actual contributor in the top 4 defense. Most people believe Zeev Boehm, if not first pair, at least top 4 upside. And you pass on him because, he's a little smaller. He might be a little redundant. That's concerning if you're not just going off of straight talent. There could be some other reasons. College players, they might be a little iffy on simply because of Gauthier, and he does have the same agent as Cutter Gauthier. These are more kind of conspiracy theories trying to explain why they may have passed on him than actual reasons. But I think it all kind of added up to, you know what, we're just going to go with the guy we like better.
They also passed on this Swede, right? Hellenius?
Yeah, similar bill to Jet too, no, Bill?
Yeah, Consta Hellenius. I think the read on him is like he's probably one of the most NHL-ready players in this draft, but what you get from him as a rookie might be what you get from him in year 5. I don't know if they're crazy about his offensive upside and his ceiling, whereas Gent Luchenko at his age with his puck skill and his speed, you could see something else there maybe.
Yeah, it's wild because I haven't read most of the things I read say people see him as a 3rd-line center at best.
Wow. it seems like the upside's really what they were sold on, and he still has a lot of room for development too. But Bill, to VG's point as well, could they also be high on Oliver Bunk, the second first round pick that they had last year too? Isn't he a similar build as well, smaller, skillful defenseman?
Oh, they absolutely love Oliver Bonk. They love the London Knights program. They're big fans of Mark Hunter and his family there in London running everything. There's a reason they got up to draft him with their second pick last year. And with the coming out of the year he had in the OHL, where he was just putting up points like Eric Carlson or something, they absolutely love this guy. They think they hit a home run.
So, Bill, you mentioned that thumbs up, but it seems like it's subject to change based on what happens from here. Free agency starts here in a couple of hours. So realistically, what are the Flyers going to do in free agency, and what's their flexibility? What can they do?
They made a little bit of room when they bought out Cam Atkinson. I think they have about $6 million under the cap now, maybe around $5 million. But once they put Ryan Ellis on LTIR, it's about $10 million, so they can do some things. I'm not expecting a ton in free agency. It sounds like they're going to re-sign veteran defenseman Eric Johnson just to have kind of an extra veteran guy be their number 7, a lot like Mark Stahl was last year. I am hoping, however, they do pull off a trade for another center, whether it's a Trevor Zegras that long rumored in Anaheim, one of the centers in Ottawa, maybe Cole Perfetti in Winnipeg. I'm hoping they're able to pull off a hockey trade where they just stocked up 3 first-round picks for next year. They have some players like Scott Lawton and Joel Farabee, Morgan Frost, all rumored to be on the trade block. I would like to see them pull off a trade for a young center and fill a need and have someone that can play center for Matvei Michkov right away.
By the way, this portion of the show brought to you by Bet Parks. And we've been talking about the odds, for the 76ers. They've shifted since the signing of Paul George and others. The Flyers, realistically, Bill, and I know hockey can be kind of weird sometimes, but as a Flyer fan, how the offseason you expect it to go. What's realistic expectations when we kind of look ahead to the 2024-2025 season?
I think wins and losses wise, they're going to be around where they were last year, maybe plus or minus a few. But I think they're going to be a similar team than last year. I think they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to be fun to watch because of the style John Tortorella has implemented. But simply based on the Devils are going to be better. They had an injury-ravaged, unlucky goaltending season last year. They should be a top 3 team in the division. Ottawa got a goaltender. Buffalo should be better. Right there, you could have the same record, basically, and finish further down in the standings because other teams that were supposed to be better finally are. And that's kind of what I'm expecting. Maybe you're not in it till the last day of the year with a chance to go to the playoffs. But I do expect them to be somewhat entertaining. And with Michkov coming over, there's a reason to watch. The future is here, actually.
You got some sizzle, Bill Matz. You can see it coming now. I'm just saying, VG, even in text messages last night, what is Briere doing? What is going on here?
I was so fired up for this draft and very disappointed at the end. Do you think, as a Zamboner, it seems to me they could use maybe a veteran goaltender on this roster? Is that something you might look for in free agency?
Yeah.
It's real. The goaltending situation kind of complicated. At the beginning of the offseason, I was positive I wanted to go with 3 goalies and have one veteran who can just come in and take over when things start to go wrong. So Ersson doesn't have to play 18 of 21 if Fedotov gets hurt. If Fedotov is just kind of a disaster because we have no idea what he is, someone can come in and be the backup. But now they have a third goalie in the AHL, Alexei Kolosov, who we're not quite sure what his deal is, whether he really wants to be in the AHL very long, whether he's crazy about being in North America when he can just go home and play in the KHL and be a lot more comfortable. So I don't want to create more roadblocks for him because I think of the 3 goalies that are over here right now, he might have the highest upside. Really don't want to lose him because you mismanaged the situation. I wanted a veteran goalie, and now I'm thinking maybe that third young guy in the AHL just as a call up and someone you can develop slowly in the NHL is the way to go here.
Dotov's training at the lovely rink in Hollydale in Washington Township. He's ready, Bill. He's ready.
We know, lots of stars come out of Hollydale. There's Johnny Gaudreau, Tony D'Angelo, Bill Matz, and that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, so are you a beach guy? Did you go to the? I know you're down CIL, but are you it's 10 a.m. Why aren't we at the beach? Let's get down there now. I got my White Claws.
I'm a little bit later of a beach guy. I like to hit around 12 or 1 and stay down there through the heat of the day. That's really the time to be down there. But yeah, I'm absolutely a beach guy. I get my tan on, be looking real nice and glistening, that nice syrupy brown for when I get back in the studio.
All right. Well, listen, give Ava my love and enjoy the day. I think you got some good weather coming, and we'll talk to you soon.
Will do, Johnny.
All right. Thanks. There he is. Bill Metz. Broad Street Hockey right here at PHLY. The Grind with Brad the Brain.
Brain. Brad the Brain Feinberg.
And he joins us right now. What's up, Brad?
Good to see you. First of all, I just got a cool cabana. I just ordered it. Hasn't come in yet, but it's going to get it any day. But I'm going to the beach, John, with the wrong people. I got to go with you.
I'll be there from the 11th to the 21st.
It's right here. It's actually in my condo right now, the cool cabana. So I'll have to let you know how it is. But, hearing how you go to the beach and how you take care of business, man, I'm impressed.
And I cook breakfast, too. I'm like in the military. I'm up peeling potatoes, scrambling eggs, getting the bacon ready, because then I want to go to the beach. The late risers don't like me down at the shore.
I respect it. I respect it a lot, man. But what a huge day for the Sixers, huh?
So last night, looking like it was trending in the direction of Paul George, I was wondering if people were flooding the betting markets saying like, hey, let me get in right now with a price that's going to look a little better than if he signs by tomorrow morning. So where are we right now? We were just talking about on the BetParks app where the Sixers were. It really looks like if you look across the board, the Atlantic Division, the Eastern Conference, and to win the title, the Sixers are tied with a couple of teams, the Knicks in the East, and then some other teams in the West. So it's really the Celtics, and then there's everybody else. But the Sixers are the everybody else right now as far as the top of that second tier.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's interesting. I was on with Anthony last week, and Anthony said on these airwaves, he goes, matter of fact, he's like, I expect the Sixers to get Paul George. I then actually called him after the show. I'm like, you actually expect it? He's like, yeah. He goes, I expect this to happen. And you could have grabbed the Sixers at 18-1 odds to win the title on the day that Anthony predicted that it would come, and now the price is obviously crashed. Now the value is gone. The 18-1 was the time to do it. Now it's like it's you're late to the party, so to speak. But I got to tell you something. Let me ask you guys a question. Isaiah Hartenstein, who we all saw play against the Sixers, he's a nice player. Okay, from what I understand, there's a rumor that the Thunder may sign him for some contract, north of $20 million. Question for you. And this is how I think good NBA general managers run their franchises. Look, Paul George versus someone who's making a fraction of that, Paul George destroys him, right? Yeah, you're paying Paul George a lot more money, but Paul George is infinitely better. Andre Drummond at $5 million a year versus Isaiah Hartenstein at $25 million a year. Explain to me what I'm missing. Is there even a true difference? I thought that was a great signing by the Sixers as a backup to me when Embiid is out, or Embiid has to certainly miss his 25, 30 games. Who cares? Drummond can come in and easily be elite. He's obviously not Joel Embiid, but he can come in and not embarrass himself. I love that signing.
Yeah,
I thought that was really shrewd.
You're just looking not to lose that much when Embiid's off the floor. And Drummond has shown you he's limited in what he can do. But what he can do, you're not going to get bullied around down low.
Correct.
You're not going to defensively. You're going to be fine. So you like the Paul George signing?
Well, yeah, I do. Here's the thing. Let's again. I don't think it can be argued, and I'll tell you why. And hear me out here. Let's take what the New York Knicks did, John. Okay, now they traded the 6 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. Now I'm not saying that's not a good move. I'm clearly not saying that. What I'm saying is they gave up 6 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges versus Paul George, let's just say pick them. Who would you rather have? Next 2 years for me, it's definitely Paul George. Years 3 and 4, probably Mikal Bridges. So I think it's pretty close. You can argue who you'd rather have. But one, you're paying the salaries either way, okay? One, you get to keep these 6 first-round picks. Maybe they make another big splash. Maybe they somehow go in for Lauri Markkanen. I'm not saying they're going to, or there becomes another player down the line that they want to come in and say, you know what, we're going to put our chips in the basket. We still have those first-round picks to trade. They got him in essence for free, not financially. I understand it cost $212 million, but from the aspect is you kept all your assets, John. And to me, it's hard in the NBA. These guys just don't grow on trees where you can add a 7-8-time All-Star like Paul George. You have to get lucky. You have to be right place, right time. So for you, if you're going to nitpick the Paul George thing, when I say you, I mean anyone, what I would say to you is this. It's either that, okay, or what else is there?
What's the alternative?
And what else is there is, I'm going to tell you something. There's really nothing, there's nothing else there. I mean, like, Kelly Oubre, you could argue, is the next best guy. And they got him too. So I'm just saying, there wasn't a long list. I'm being honest. I mean, there's LeBron James is obviously not coming here. There was LeBron, there was Paul George, and then I guess Hartenstein's considered maybe the next best free agent. I'm just saying, where else were you going to go?
Right. I wonder how you feel about this. My instinct tells me, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Sixers had the cap space. There wasn't a big market for Paul George, especially for teams that had money to spend. Orlando, I don't know if Paul George said no to Orlando or Orlando said no to Paul George as far as a max. Detroit's not going to sign him. But like it's okay to be lucky, but Sixers are probably lucky there weren't a lot of teams that had money or were willing to give it for Paul George.
Oh, 100%. Again, look, so much in sports, and look, you've been doing this forever too. You get it. So much is just being right place, right time, and there's trades you were going to make that a team said no on that never probably gets publicized, and and you have to get fortunate on certain things. To me, again, when is the last time? And I'd have to look it up. A player as accomplished as Paul George has switched teams, and I'm asking because I really don't know off the top of my head, but I'm guessing it's been a while, right? I mean, I don't know the last time a player as accomplished as Paul George.
Yeah,
his switch teams for free, just for free, not even a signing trade. This was just, they get him, again, I use the word for free, they get him without having to give up any assets. And it's been a long time since a player this good, you've been able to get like that. So to me, now you look at the roster, it's like, okay, I don't love Eric Gordon. I think he's shot, but whatever, he's a minimum deal, whatever. Maybe he still has something left. I don't know. I mean, he can shoot the ball, yeah. But I loved getting Oubre back. I thought he was legitimately, he to me, was better than Tobias Harris was last year. I think getting him was shrewd. And I love getting Drummond to play those minutes when Embiid's out because he won't embarrass himself. I thought that was a really good move. Plus, if you want to sit Embiid for 25 games, make sure he's healthy for the year, John, for the playoffs. I love they have a guy that can just come in and they're and they're maybe not going to be a 55-win team, but maybe they could be a 45-win team with Drummond. It's just a 10-game difference as opposed to a 20-game difference with someone lesser than that. So to me, I thought that was really good. And look, we'll see how they finish out the rest of the team. I don't know if they can get Melton back or not. But again, I don't know how if you're a Sixers fan, you can't love what they've done.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's like a 9-time All-Star. He's averaging 23 points a game. And with the bird rights, these players never come. They're never free. No.
And for people who are going to complain about it, I would just say, it's like, what could you have done better? I'm all ears.
Right.
I mean, again, but it's like, and look, when we were on the show last week, guys, we talked about it, and said, you may not even be able to, you only can do what you can do. So to me, it's like, okay, they got the Paul George move here. If you didn't go that route, I'm all ears, and I'm always willing to listen to stuff. Name one, and I mean, say, name one possibility you think that you could have done that was even close to this that you could have done. And if you say something, okay, great, maybe there is, but I don't know how anyone can other be than this is phenomenal. This gives them a real, true third player that Tobias Harris never was going to be. I don't know how you can't be just absolutely gleeful and ecstatic that the Sixers now, in my opinion, this is a championship team. If Embiid is healthy,
Yeah, I read a tweet this morning from Tim Bontemps from early this morning. Apparently, he's been on ESPN again. He may be the biggest fan of this trade, this signing. He says they're easily the best big three in basketball, and they're an instant title contender.
I agree. Like, I don't think this is this is not rocket science. Like, to me, yeah. I mean, Paul George, by the way, still was a very, very, very good player last year. He hasn't really had some big slip. And you don't want to talk about a team to me that can imagine if you're a fan of the LA Clippers now. I mean, they just gave James Harden 2 years, $70 million. Like, that to me is like God. I mean, if I'm a fan of that team, they just lost their second best guy, and now their quote unquote team is Kawhi Leonard, who's tremendous but always is hurt, and James Harden. I mean, this is now the Sixers have a team with Embiid theoretically still at the tail end of his prime, Maxey right at the beginning of his prime, and George at the end of his prime. But this is a team for the next at least 2 years, should be, barring injury, as good as any team in the NBA. Now, again, can they fill in the pieces? Do they have another? Is there another trade they can make with some of these assets to get one more good player? I mean, that's why Daryl Morey's making his $10 million a year too, whatever he's getting. See if he can do that. But I feel like the Sixers, right place, right time. I don't know how anyone cannot be absolutely ecstatic with this.
Because the Phillies have off tonight, and so they go on the road. So 3 in Chicago, 3 against the Braves. It was such a big win yesterday, just because the optic of losing 3 or 4 at home against the Marlins is a great comeback win. But Ranger Suarez didn't look good, and he hasn't looked great the last couple starts. We know that they're trying to I was just trying to stay 500 here until the guys are back. Yeah, but you've lost some real firepower again, and now the pitching's starting to fall off a little bit. And then the Braves, you're down in Atlanta. So what you don't want is the All-Star break to happen, and the Phillies are only up 3 or 4 games. And that's my biggest fear. That's my biggest fear right now. Yeah,
couldn't agree more, John. I think that's spot on. But I think, listen, I think they can be good enough to hang on. Obviously, look, the 2 losses, look, the Zach Wheeler loss, and we talked about with Anthony the other day. They had him struck out, and what it led to was, think about what that led to. That non-strike led to, cost them the game, cost them Schwarber, cost them Harper. It cost them, I mean, has there ever been a game? I mean, I'm honest. I'm not trying to exaggerate because it's not an exaggeration. That cost them 1 game, and they're 2 of their best players, and obviously their best player in Harper, going on the IR because they got hurt in the 9th inning of the game, which there wouldn't have been a 9th inning because they would have won 3-0. So, I mean, that was awful. And then the Nola game, it's funny, Strahm, 2 straight games, and Strahm's, been good for the Phillies, so I'm not criticizing him, but, came in 2 straight games and unfortunately just the wrong timing, and Nola pitched a good game and it got washed away. But look, I still think with their pitching, Sanchez has been great. Suarez, listen, but it's so hard when you're pitching 32 starts, John, to be good all 32. That's why Clayton Kershaw in his prime, Pedro Martinez in his prime, when Zach Wheeler's doing this year, it's so hard to be good if you're and be the best every single outing. And Ranger Suarez, let's just be fair. Before this year, he was a number 3 starter, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so he's pitching like a number 1 this year, which is great. But as I said, that's why when he became the Cy Young favorite, I faded that and bet other guys like Wheeler, because Wheeler to me, I know is going to be good every start. It's hard, in my opinion, for someone like Suarez to be dominant every single start. But I think they could still have a 5-6 game lead come the break. But I agree, it's extremely important based on how the first half's gone. They deserve to have that kind of lead, and you don't want to let Atlanta get close because winning that division, John, as you know, is of paramount importance.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at
the Cy Young odds right now.
Zach Wheeler's now the favorite. Looking on the BetParks app.
Rangers dropped off a good bit on BetParks. He's plus 600 in 3rd place. But Chris Sale is 2nd place going into this season. I would have never imagined Chris Sale is 2nd place.
Yeah, it's funny. Chris Sale was in my fantasy leagues was like the guy I target. I thought Chris Sale was, I think he was in Cy Young, but he was a guy I thought still had it going to Atlanta. See, when these guys come to Atlanta, guys, it just seems like they just I mean, have that. I don't know. I thought it was a good situation for him coming back to the NL. His strikeout rate was still pretty good last year, and he'd been a few years since he had his arm injuries. But yeah, he stayed injury free, and look, credit to the Braves for that trade because getting Chris Sale has been absolutely incredible for him, and he's been dominant. He really has. But I think Zach Wheeler has a really good chance to win that award. I really, really do.
All right, we're brought to you by the BetParks app. Get in the zone with BetParks Sportsbook app. Money is in the moments. What events are coming up? What's your favorite line or underdog? There's a lot going on. We had MMA over the weekend. So check this out. Win your first $10 bet and earn $125 in sports bonus bets. You play for fun. You love the win. You bet. BetParx. Download the app. Play along with us. You must be 21 or older. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Zach Wheeler, plus 175. Chris Sale, plus 350. Ranger now, plus 600. And
what's Glass now? What's Tyler Glass now?
Glass now is, I believe he's plus 650.
Okay, good.
Brad, if you had an under today with these matchups, I'm going to be super impressed in baseball.
Yeah, no, you're talking about the games. It's funny, the games today. It's funny. This has been no joke, and I have to look it up. The first day in I don't even know how many months, years, whatever. That I've had no action in a day. I didn't bet one thing today. It was just, I was like, oh my God, like what's the pigs fly? What's going on? I could not find one bet of value. And I did like a double take, a triple take, a quadruple take. I'm like, man, because I will never force a bet. Didn't see anything to me worth doing today, believe it or not. So I was like,
so you got nothing for us? No Copa America Soccer?
No, no Copa America Soccer, not yet. But hopefully tomorrow I'll come back guns a-blazing and we'll have some bets for sure.
Brad, that's why they call him the brain. He's smart. He's not going to force a bet just because he wants to bet something, right? You know, the money doesn't know where it's come from. Sometimes it can wait a day, right, Brad?
John, next bet I win, I'm looking at my pool cabanas right now. I'm gonna send one over to you. You're gonna be out on that beach. You'll be like, man, this feels good.
Your fabulous son, our great intern Versace, he said he smoked you all weekend in golf.
Well, if smoking me means you go like lose every single round easily, yeah. To say I humiliated the kid, but that's okay. I mean, I still love him, but yeah, he couldn't come close. But
all right, man.
I got to tell you just this: Bandon Dunes golf. If anyone ever has a chance to go, I don't know if you guys golf or not. Most spectacular golf course I've ever seen in Oregon. Absolutely phenomenal.
All right, man. Enjoy your afternoon. We'll talk tomorrow.
Appreciate you guys. It was great seeing you. Take care, guys.
Yeah, there is Brad the Brain. All right, Primo Hoagies, and you know the cuz loves Primos. When I think of Primos, not only do I think about the delicious meats and cheeses and bread, I think about the cuz eating Primo Hoagies, but there's a good reason for that. You've had a Primo. It's not a hoagie, it's a Primo, right? Over 30 years, they've offered an experience that celebrates tradition, quality, and the unmistakable flavor of Philly. So their first store was 1992 in South Philly, the heart of South Philly. So what do you have to do to separate yourself? A lot of great spots in South Philly, right? Well, listen, they stand out with their meats, with their cheeses, the ingredients that go into every hoagie, and the award-winning seeded bread. Primo Hoagies is committed to crafting sandwiches that set the standard for excellence. Become a Primo Rewards member, and you'll get $2 off a Primo-sized hoagie every Wednesday. $2 off. Whether you call it a hoagie, a sub, a grinder, one thing's for sure, you can taste the Primo difference. Make your next event Primo with hoagie trays and party platters, perfect for any occasion. Order online or in-store today and taste the Primo difference. All right, Parx Casino, everybody. Listen, if you're looking for something after work get-togethers, date nights, girls' night out, well, listen, Parx Casino's got something for you. Sip on tantalizing drinks and soak up those warmer weather good vibes right now at Parx Casino. Parx Casino, this is how you win, and it's my casino of choice. And now they're offering, check this out, an epic $5 happy hour with great food and drink. This is every Wednesday through Sunday at the Liberty Bell Gastropub. $5 drafts, Forged Stout, Victory Seasonal, or Parks Pilsners. $5 glasses of Cabernet. Enjoy the drink of summer. $5 Twisted Tea, Frozen Whiskey, Arnold Palmer's. Plus feast on flavored packed $5 small plates of braised short rib sliders, hot honey chicken sliders, or rotisserie chicken flatbread. That's the all-new Parx Casino epic $5 happy hour happening right now. And summer's approaching, and it's here. All roads are leading right to Parx Casino, the number one casino in Pennsylvania. Check it out. 3,200 state-of-the-art slots, 115 live table games, beautiful poker room, a collection of incredible award-winning restaurants, and Joe Conklin. You know he's funny. Every Thursday night, he's got a different headliner. Best cover bands every weekend, only at the 360 Lounge. And listen, they have the 1,500-seat Excite Center at Parx Casino, and there's something going on. Big acts every weekend. So check it out. Tiffany Haddish coming up on September 27th. That was just announced as well. Tickets for every show they have. ParksCasino.com. Visit ParksCasino.com. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER. Parks Casino, this is how you win. All right, the Anthony Gargano Show, presented by Rite Aid. Find all your favorite goods from the store nearest you. As we welcome in Jim Lynam, the coach who speaks about Paul George and the state of the 76ers. As the coach is ready for us right here, this is a treat to talk to Jim Lynam. Coach, how you doing?
How you doing, guys?
Good. When Jimmy, when I think of you, a lot of things come to mind, and we'll talk about what the Sixers did here with Paul George in a second. But I can hear you saying, "Oh, that's just Charles being Charles." What was it like coaching Charles Barkley? Now we're looking at 30 years ago, 35 years ago. What was it like being the head coach of Charles Barkley?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing I'd say is he was one of the best players to ever play in the NBA. Very, very unique player in terms of his style of play. And as you've come to know, a very, very unique guy. I stole a line and I said, and I told Charles this on a number of occasions, to coach Charles Barkley, it takes a village. But the rewards were, more than evident. He was a consummate competitor. He was loved by his teammates, and those two qualities. I understand they're not statistically on the page, but they're huge in terms of having your leader, your key guy, your horse, in terms of carrying your team forward. And when it comes to those types of things, Barkley was the best.
He was some kind of player. So you were an assistant in Charles's second year, third year in the league. I remember, Jim, Charles early in his career, he would get the rebound off the glass, take the ball off the court, dribble behind the back and go in for a slam. He was like a one-man wrecking crew, especially early in his career. He could do everything.
Yeah, he was a little bit, ahead of the curve. People don't maybe appreciate, even back in the day, like what a well-rounded player he was. He wasn't a great shooter. He was a decent shooter, but he was a tremendous ball handler. That he pioneered like in a post play really since the inception of the game, even by the great post players. Basically they were one, maybe two dribble moves. Barkley, he'd dribble the ball. There's a rule now in the NBA, 5-second back a guy down rule. It's a violation because of Charles. But with his big frame and his really good handle, it wasn't like fancy, but he just knew how to like maneuver, put the ball in one hand, had a tremendous spin move in the post. He was ahead of his time in terms of his all around skills.
Yeah, he sure was. All right, Jimmy. So what do you think? 76ers, obviously they signed Paul George. They've added some other what appear to be important pieces in Andre Drummond and Eric Gordon, and there's more moves to be made. But what do you think about the move to sign Paul George?
Well, Paul George, I think most people would agree, was the best player out there. So if you're looking to improve your team in free agency and you can land the best player, I think it speaks for itself as to what they did. And I understand that, some people will quibble how old he is. I think where the Sixers are right now with Maxey and Embiid, you have to say they're a legitimate contender. And if you add a player, all you have to do is look at Paul George's line of statistics from this past season with the Clippers, arguably his best offensive season of his career. So when you add that with Maxey and Embiid, then you can justifiably walk out and no matter who the other team is, look across the court and say, let's throw it up. You're ready to go. It's not because of lack of talent, that we're going to be in trouble in this series, which is what we're talking about with the Sixers. It's not about the regular season. It's about the postseason.
Yeah. Was lack of talent the biggest issue for you in the Sixers? Listen, they're still trying to get over the second round hump, and they've been close. But to think that this team, as talented as it's been, has been as long as it's been, still hasn't gotten to an Eastern Conference Finals. What was missing with the team before, and does Paul George kind of solve that?
No, the answer is no and no. It's not lack of talent, and no, Paul George does not solve the problem. The problem, and I think you're going to agree with me. The problem is a healthy Joel Embiid when the bell rings. As I think I heard when I was fussing here to get on and listening to you guys, somebody said it's about game 83. That's a great statement. That's the deal. Joel Embiid, for whatever reason, I think a lot of it is just bad luck, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm going to give you the one injury, and I'm bad, like with respect to nailing the year. But Markelle Fultz late in the season is running a pick and roll, and as Joel is setting the pick, he bangs him with his elbow and breaks his eye socket. I mean, come on. Yeah. When's the last time you saw that one? But Joe is, he's a very active guy. He's a huge guy. Yes, he might be a little bit injury prone, but I think there's a lot of bad luck in there. It's not a lack of talent. Like I'll cite the series the year Toronto won it. The Sixers are right there. They lose that series on a bounce, Kawhi jumper falling in, sensational shot by Kawhi, but that's a team that goes on to win it. And the Sixers, lose at the buzzer in game 7. So I think they've been, maybe I'm a little higher on who they have been over the years, but there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that the reason they haven't performed to their capabilities of their regular season play in the postseason is because of Embiid's health. So they need him healthy come the start of playoffs.
Yeah, and Jim, I don't want to call him injury prone because you're right. That was a freak injury, but he's so big, it's hard for him. He takes, and as you said, he's so active. So when you play that kind of way, and I don't think he's reckless. Sometimes when he goes to the floor hard, you wish he didn't do some of these things, but it just feels like to me injury is going to always to be a part of Joel Embiid as a player. I just don't know what you can do. Like you had said, Andre Drummond, you try to keep him healthy, but a lot of times these injuries are just happening. And it's hard to put a guy in bubble wrap to preserve him when you never know when it's going to happen.
No, you make a very, very good point. The way he plays, the more active guy is. Well, the injury this year, when he was out for the prolonged stretch, he dove on the floor for a loose ball. And quite honestly, I can almost play fly on the wall here. There will, if they haven't already, there will be conversations going forward. In terms of like players can like protect themselves to a certain degree. I'll tell you what Joe has improved on. Remember in the early years of his career, he used to dive into the stands trying to save balls. He doesn't do that anymore. Well, likewise, Joe, we don't need you going to the floor to recover one loose ball. There are 200 possessions in a game, 200 plus, okay? We can give them that one. We don't need you on the floor. And obviously, he's going to be if he decides to dive for a loose ball, he's the first guy there because he's the quickest guy on the court. His reactions are incredible. But in the byproduct of that is the second guy is landing on top of you. Yeah. So those kind of injuries, I think, Joe's a very, very bright guy. Like when you show him footage of plays, his ability to grasp, he gets it in a hurry. So they need a little bit of luck, but I just have a feeling that this year might be the year, where he can go into the playoffs at the end of the year much more healthy than he's been in the past.
How hard is it because now, we all know you have 3 stars, Maxey, Embiid, Paul George, Oubre's back. So now you're able to add some role players, but it's also probably guys that haven't played together, right? Just when I watch the Sixers, I see the talent, but I don't see the intangibles that maybe I see in some other teams, right? Where it felt like the Knicks out-efforted the Sixers last year. It felt like the Knicks wanted that series more than the Sixers did. Maybe that's just my perception, but it just felt like they got the offensive rebounds. They made the second chance, third chance, fourth chance shots to where, I need more players like that. It's great they added Paul George. He's a fantastic player, but I need guys that played more like the Knicks played last year. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, that's you're right on target. It's an interesting point, and I think that was one of the best, if not the best, series in all the playoffs. That was a great series, the Sixers-Knicks. But to your point about the way the Knicks play, the Knicks' strength and the reason they beat the Sixers, you hit it right on the head, was offensive rebounding. And teams in today's NBA, with all the threes that are shot, the rebounds aren't falling as much around the basket area as they did back in the day. So balls are hitting off a missed 3, and they're heading out. back out toward the 3 line. And the Knicks had the type of team, where they could pursue a ball. They fly to go get a ball that's heading out. And that's an exciting brand to play. A lot of teams don't like to chase down second points, second chance points, meaning missed shots. They're fearful if you're running toward the basket to go try to secure a second shot, you're not back on defense. And they worry about that. Well, guess what? The Knicks could care less about that. We'll get back on defense once you get the ball, but we're not going to concede that ball to you. When we miss a shot, we're going to try. In fact, we anticipate missing shots, and they have tremendous physical ability out on that perimeter to go after those kind of shots. Even like Dante DiVincenzo, I'll take him by way of example. A terrific NBA player, a terrific shooter. I'd call him like a pretty good athlete. He's not a great athlete, but I got news for you. He knows how to chase down offensive rebounds. And it's their style of play, and it's a philosophy. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's a very exciting brand of basketball.
Jim Lynam, you can't get more Philly basketball than coach here. West Catholic, St. Joe's, obviously the 76ers, not only is an assistant coach, a head coach, and then general manager later on. So, Jim, who in your playing days, in your early coaching days, who were some of the more talented or most talented players that you played with? Man, you're talking about Philadelphia basketball. You've pretty much seen it all. Who are some of the great ones?
Well, yeah, I really, growing up, obviously, now we're going way, way back. But some of the great ones, well, Wilt, obviously I watched Wilt on the playgrounds when I was a kid. And some of these guys I don't have to tell anybody, I don't think, who Wilt Chamberlain is. If you stand the test of that kind of time, then you're one of the all-time greats. And
so let me stop you. So you used to watch Wilt on the playground when he's a teenager, maybe in high school?
Yeah, exactly. His high school years, probably his first time I probably saw him play. Tustin Playground is where they used to play, which is an outdoor court across the street from Overbrook High School, which is still there, which is a stone's throw from St. Joe's University today. Yeah, Wilt would. It's ironic. This is a true story. At Tustin Playground back in the days, they played first 1 to 11 wins the game. No win by 2. And when you lose, you're done. Meaning, when you walked into the playground, they yell out, "What's the number?" And somebody yells out, 14. That means there's 13 teams of 5 ahead of you. You're the 14th game. So when you lose, you go home. It's not like when Wilt loses, the next team picks Wilt. No. Next team got their 5. Wilt, go get your hoagie, dude, okay? He's done. Well, this is a true story. Chamberlain on the case. I watched this with my own eyes. He'd be playing. And say somebody else, "What's the score?" Now, Wilt, obviously, his team wins virtually every game. So I'm going to make it up. Somebody else, 8-3, meaning Wilt's team is losing. At that point, Chamberlain decides to block. Are you ready? Every shot you take. Every shot. Now, when I tell that story to young kids at camps over the years, "Coach, what if?" I said, "Dude, there is no what if. He jumps up in the air, he catches your shot, and that's it. It doesn't matter where you shoot it from. You shoot a deep corner jump. You could shoot a jumper from 59th Street. He's going to jump in the air and catch your shot. And then he takes it on the dribble himself where he passes to somebody to go the other way. And on rare occasions, and John Chaney, rest his soul, the ex-Chaney coach, told this story, and I actually saw this one night. Wilt jumps and catches the jumper, right? And in midair with the guy's jumper, ready? He turned his body and he threw down a ferocious dunk into the other team's basket. And he turned and yelled, "Goaltending, score it." That's what he did. I watched it.
Wow.
So when I tell you Chamberlain was a whole other deal, trust me, I'm in the ballpark.
Well, he was a track and field star. I mean, you're talking about
Correct.
You're talking about a guy that was like, for his size to be that kind of an athlete, it's almost impossible. He's a once not even a lifetime, once in a generation, once in everything.
Yeah, you just again, you hit it on the head. It was a combination, like I don't want to like misspeak or talk nonsense. It wasn't that he had like the skill set of a Jokic, no, but he was such a massive guy and so athletic and strong with that size, that combination. And literally, he was able to throw the players. And there weren't as many big guys, but there were big guys. Somebody like Nate Thurman, Bill Russell. I mean, again, those guys would play, in any era. But he was able to throw most of the players around like they were rag dolls because of his incredible size, strength, and athleticism.
Wow, it's amazing. I really appreciate a couple minutes here, Jimmy. It feels like a lot of these questions are self-serving because it's like me wanting to know this from you. My favorite Sixer team of your coaching era was the Bump and Thump team. So you had Rick Mahorn, Charles Barkley. I think the G-Man jumper, Mike Jaminski, was still with you at that point. Andre Turner, Ricky Green. What was the best team that you had? What was the closest you came? Because you were going up against Jordan every year.
Yeah, no, that team was our best team, the team that you just cited, and we couldn't get by Michael and Scottie Pippen, obviously. Ironically, Detroit was able to, but Detroit couldn't beat us.
Right.
But I think that year you're citing when we had our best team, I think we beat Detroit all 4 times. But in the playoffs, we played Chicago, and we couldn't beat Jordan. And I should say Pippen because I'm a huge Pippen fan, and he's justifiably one of the top 50 players that have played in the NBA, in my opinion.
Yeah, Jordan. What was it like going up against Jordan? Watching, what people will say is the best player of all time.
Yeah, it was very difficult. LeBron is a good, it's a great conversation. Is there a 1 versus a 1A between the two of them? But there are a lot of parallels between the two of them, and it would start with both of them like ferocious competitors that even us on the sideline watching night after night have difficulty appreciating. I mean, they're incredibly competitive. They just, I don't know how to quite explain it. Like they want it all, and they bring it every night.
Jim, appreciate it. Happy 4th of July. Hope you're enjoying your summer. We'll talk soon.
Okay, nice talking to you.
Thanks, Coach. There he is, Jim Lynam, just Charles, me and Charles.
All right, guys. Now let's talk about our great friends over at Olipop. I know a lot of us are doing a lot of drinking over this holiday weekend. So listen, while you're downing a dog or a burger or whatever it may be, consider an Olipop, guys. It is my favorite drink of choice here, and I'm going to tell you why right now. Because Olipop is the world's first functional soda that has that classic soda taste that we all love, and it has the benefits of plant-based fiber, prebiotics, and other botanical ingredients that supports that gut health, ladies and gentlemen. It's important. That's what we're talking about here. Olipop only has 2 to 5 grams of sugar with 9 grams of fiber. That's where my health nuts go crazy over. And the best part about it, it's available in over 30,000 different retailers, including our favorite, Wawa, guys. You can get this beautiful drink here at Wawa. You can get your cup of joe in the morning, your Olipop for lunch. Nothing beats it. But as always, you can find it as well at Target, Sprouts, Wegmans, ShopRite. Get it delivered with GoPuff. You name it, you can get it here this weekend for your holiday weekend. And of course, we have you hooked up with that promo code. If you use the promo code PHLY20, this will get you 20% off your next Olipop order. Just keep in mind that this discount only applies to one-time orders, not subscription orders. And Olipop is also sold online at drinkolipop.com or on Amazon. So this weekend here for 4th of July weekend, need a little break? Choose an Olipop, not only for the great taste, but for that gut health as well. And of course, right now, guys, it is 10:30 in the morning here on the Anthony Gargano Show. We want to thank you guys for tuning on in. We really do appreciate it. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button, especially if you enjoy the content. Subscribe as well, not only for our show, but for all the great shows that we have here at PHLY Sports. You can hit that bell button as well, because it'll let you know exactly when all the shows are live. You can find the Anthony Gargano Show wherever you stream podcasts as well. Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it. Just say, hey, Siri, find the Anthony Gargano Shows. I know my phone. No, my phone didn't do it. Awesome. But guys, you can check it out on there as well. And of course, guys, become a diehard. Guys, you need to become a diehard, all right? Here's why. You get exclusive content from all of our great beat writers that we have here. We're currently in the middle of NBA and NHL free agency, so you're going to want to make sure you catch all those exclusive articles from Charlie O'Connor, Derek Bodner, and Kyle Newback. They're always posting on there. You also get access to those Discord chats. We have some great communities over here. You get access to that by becoming a diehard. You get the discount on merchandise. We got some great swag. You obviously see me rocking the PHLY hoodie here. Nice, warm, and cozy. You definitely want to check that out. You get all this information plus all the great events by becoming a diehard. Speaking of events, guys, keep it in your calendar. July 13th, we have our inaugural PHLY Scramble Golf Tournament. Guys, for all my golfers, I know our producer Andrew's psyched about this as well. You want to come out and hang out not only with us, but also, guys, we're having a golf outing. There's nothing else to that, right? The Liberty Open at Valley Brook Country Club over in New Jersey in Blackwood. It is presented by Shady Rays. Thank you to our friends over at Shady Rays for that one. We'll have some specials out there, but obviously, like I mentioned, you get to golf with all of us here. So definitely check that out. You can check out all these events at allphly.com/events. We'll always have some fun stuff over here, so make sure you guys keep that in mind.
This portion of the show sponsored by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY or stop into your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today. We're going to head into the clubhouse. We're going to head into the meat locker inside the clubhouse and talk to Baldy, Brian Baldinger.
Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Ay, Baldy. Oh, he likes pizza and football. Oh, Baldy.
Yeah, that Piazza picture with no screen. We having technical difficulties.
Are you there, Baldy?
Yeah, I'm here.
We don't see you on screen.
All right, let me see what's going on here.
I didn't miss your intro this time.
The picture of Piazza and Baldy, and that's mullet era.
That was a late addition to the intro.
Oh, man. I saw that recently in the last couple of weeks. Baldy, like, you never know what you're going to get from Baldy. He told a Willie Mays story a couple weeks ago where I'm like, I've known Baldy a long time, but I've never heard that story. Incredible. But we'll try to get Baldy up on the screen in the meat locker. But
Right, well, I'm taking
I don't know what's going on here, guys. I mean, I hear you, Johnny. Good to hear you.
We
Good
can
to
hear
see you.
We can hear
I
you.
guess you can hear me. You can't see me. I don't know what's going on.
Well,
Let me I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You keep eating your hot dog, John. I'm going to get out and get back in. There's no reason why this thing isn't working, but maybe if I get out and get back in, it'll work.
That sounds like a good plan. So we'll talk to you coming up in a second. Because you're right. I'm hungry.
I just took a bite of mine. It's fantastic. Good job, Versace.
So you're a straight mustard guy.
Yeah, mustard. I like the relish. I just don't. I don't feel like dealing with it.
And there's no spoon, so you'd be pouring it on top.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's easy to put mustard or ketchup on it. But
Like the onions.
very good hot dog.
Cuz talked me into the jalapenos.
Underrated.
On
So
the
some of the
hot dog.
designer dogs, when you go to the different ballparks, like what is it? The Atlanta dog does it have coleslaw on it? One of the hot dogs has coleslaw on it. It's actually really good. I've had the jalapeno one, which is you need a bigger hot dog. You know what I mean? Because there's more to the sandwich. So for the most part, I don't like we'll go back to 7-Eleven. I don't like those. They used to have those huge 1 pound hot dogs. I don't friggin' need a 1 pound hot dog.
A foot long hot dog. In Colombia, we put 4 different sauces and then we crumble up some potato chips and throw it on top of the hot dog.
Really?
It's so good, John.
I could do a potato chip. on a
Yeah,
hot
it's
dog.
so good. It's 4 different types of sauces, a potato chip on top. And it's great because it adds that crunch to the hot dog.
Potato chip adds great texture and taste to sandwiches and hot dogs,
Like,
burgers.
Isn't a potato chip universally? You look at a French fry, right? It's hard to mess up a French fry. French fries are good pretty much wherever you go. Pizza, all right, maybe if you're a bougie pizza guy like VG probably is or Anthony is. But for the most part, you can get a decent slice of pizza no matter where you are.
Yeah,
right?
for the most part.
Yeah.
Hard screwed up. Cheese sauce bread. When we were in elementary school, the bagel pizza, that was great.
So it's high drama here, cooking these hot dogs to see if Versace can eat 10
It's
in
like
an
the
hour.
bear out there.
And then you have the Chicago style dog. Since the Phillies are playing in Chicago, let me say this about Chicago. And I know our own Jamie Lynch is out there. Chicago is one of the great cities in the country, a great food city. You talk about if you watch the show The Bears, the Chicago beef, the beefs, that's real.
I want to try that so bad.
The hot dogs are unbelievable. Deep dish pizza, which is a lot different. Like you get
You need a fork and knife for that?
You need a fork and knife, and don't expect to eat 4 slices. Like if you give me a pizza, I'm eating 4 slices minimum, and I'm hungry. The deep dish doesn't sit the same way. It's more like a meal than eating pizza.
You eat 4 slices?
Well, I mean, if I'm diabetic, so it's hard for me to eat as much pizza. But if I was hungry, I would eat 6 slices.
Wow.
I get a whole pie myself, easily.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Easily.
I can eat a pie.
So tonight, you and your lady are hanging out ordering pizza. You get 2 pizzas, so you can have a whole pie?
Tonight we're meeting with people, so I'll be
No,
I'll
but
be
if
an
it's just
adult.
you two,
If it's just
you
me,
have a
us-
whole pie in front of her?
No, I'll do like 4, 5
All
slices.
right.
It doesn't mean that you
I
have
can
to
do
eat
it.
a pie
Yeah.
every time.
I can do it. I'm not going to, though.
All right.
Easily can do it.
Wow.
Yeah, guys haven't seen me eat. I can eat.
You get the right mix of gummy or beer or something like that.
The PEDs, man.
Gets it going a little bit. So,
You got Baldy back?
oh, so is Baldy back? We don't have to redo the intro, but Brian Baldy, there he is. There's Baldy. All right, so you have the Sack Summit hat on, and I saw you have your Instagram's awesome because you are everywhere and doing everything. So it's fun to follow the travel dog when he's doing it. So I see this video. I'm like, hold on, is that Von Miller? You and Von Miller, you're showing hand techniques on what to do to a defensive lineman. So tell us about the Sack Summit. This is like the tight. I guess what the tight ends started is what they're doing with defensive linemen. It was in Las Vegas. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, actually, Vaughn started it 7 years ago, John. It's now called it used to be a pass rush academy, but it's now the Sack Summit. We had 60 guys from around the league. It was pretty cool. Vaughn, Cam Jordan, Max Crosby, Brian Burns, Matt Judon. It was well attended. And then we also had 16 rookies. Guys like Latu, was there, Darius Robinson, Braden Fisk. So it was really kind of the very, very young and just the guys starting. And then it was, some of these veteran guys. And it's really, it's in Vegas, which is great. Guys get out, got to have a lot of fun here. But, we're out there on the field for probably 4 or 5 hours. A bunch of college coaches, NFL coaches are out there working on drills with these guys, for quite a while. And then, but it's 110 degrees out there. So we kind of cut that a little short. And then we just started breaking up. The guys just started like talking techniques. Max was talking about some of the things he does. And then we took a break and we went inside and I put film, Baldy's breakdowns on every single player that was there. So we kind of like put Vaughn up there. We put Max up there, in front of the room, let them talk through some of the things that they do, some of the things they see and why they did certain things. And it was really good. I mean, a guy like Cam Jordan, his 14th year, is listening to Kalijah Cansey, who was a rookie last year, do this cross-chop move against the Lions in a playoff game for a sack. And Cam Jordan is like, hey, Kalijah, you did that on your second step. I usually do it on my third step. He goes, yeah, I'd like to get into it quicker. And Cam's like, I'm going to steal that. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get to my cross-chop on my second step. And so it's just a way to a transfer of ideas, talk things through. For example, like we all know, our Lane Johnson loves to get to a fast start on his pass sets. So Von Miller's saying, like, if you play Lane Johnson and you're looking at the ball, you're going to be late because he's beating the snap. And, the rules allow for it, so it's legal. But Von's like, you can't look at the ball against Lane Johnson. You're never going to beat him. And so it's just like the little things. Everybody's looking for an edge. It's kind of cool. I learned a lot. I think everybody that was there learned a lot. And we'll have the offensive line masterminds next week in Frisco, and I'll be down there for that. But I think these little think tanks amongst position groups are only going to kind of grow and grow, as years go on.
It's so cool. I mean, the evolution of the position as an edge rusher or a defensive end. I mean, you played against the likes of Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White. You were teammates with there later on. And they were like Reggie White was a big defensive end. Defensive ends now are 240, 250 edge rushers or whatever. But the evolution of the position, man, like there are so many great edge rushers and sack specialists out there where it's been fun to kind of watch the position grow over the years.
Yeah, John, you're totally right. And, Lane, I talk to Lane about it all the time. If you're a right tackle in this league, it used to be you paid the left tackles because they had to deal with Lawrence Taylor and these guys. Now, if you're a right tackle, you're dealing with Von Miller, Max Crosby, T.J. Watt. I mean, like you're seeing the best of the best on the right side because everybody now. I mean, the Giants just paid Brian Burns, so Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns. I mean, I don't care if you're Mulatto or if you're Lane, you're going to see an elite guy coming off the edge right now. And so what teams are doing, John, is, the Eagles are amongst the teams that are doing it right, but they're putting the resources in their defensive line. And so, it used to be, okay, well, if I don't know, if Nick Bosa wasn't on the field, you had an also-ran, coming in for him. Well, guys are 8 deep right now. Teams are 8 deep. And so you're going to see a good rusher, even if Nick Bosa is out of the game. When Hassan Reddick went out, last year, they had a good guy. Maybe it was Nolan Smith, another guy coming up. So that's that. But, yeah, the whole cat and mouse chess match between tackle, edge rusher, guard, interior pass rusher, it's all changing because the techniques are changing, the body shapes are changing. And so you're having to deal with a whole lot more right now.
Going up against a guy like Reggie White or Lawrence Taylor or some of those great sack specialists, you were playing, in the mid 80s, so it was a much different time then. But what's it like going against? Did you go up against Reggie White in a game? What's it like going up against a guy with an all-time great, Lawrence Taylor, et cetera?
Well, I mean, look, the first time I really had to deal with Reggie, I was playing with the Indianapolis Colts, and I was the right guard for the Colts, and we came to the vet, and Reggie either lined up at left defensive end, or if they were in a Bear defense, he lined up over the center. That's the only 2 places Reggie White lined up. Well, in this game, he lined up over me, the right guard. And after the first play, I come back to the huddle, I'm like, what the hell is he? Why is he lining up on me? Like, he never lines up on the right guard. My right tackle's going, thank God he's on you and not me. So I feel like the only way to handle Reggie inside like that is to run block him every play and get my hands on him as quickly as I can and literally turn everything into a run block and then just kind of hang on for dear life. Because if he humps me, there's nothing I can do. So that's what I did for the first quarter, and I held him every single play. And Reggie really didn't whine a lot out there. He really didn't. But even Reggie was like, like he's talking to the stripes. He's talking to the referee. He's like, are you watching what Bummelinger is doing over here to me? And I just started laughing. And pretty soon, he didn't beat me, so he went out over the right tackle, which was a whole nother story because midway through the second quarter, we're getting out of this pile, and he says to our right tackle, Kevin Call, meet me after the game. Ooh. So Kevin comes back to huddle. He's like, what's he mean, Baldy? Like, meet me after the game. Oh, he goes, oh. Like, Reggie wants you in the parking lot, Kevin. Like, like you're doing something dirty to him. He wants you, out. So I knew exactly what Reggie wanted. Kevin Call had some issues, alcohol, some things. He had some issues. And Reggie's thing was prayer after the game. I knew that. But I didn't want Kevin to know that. I didn't want him to get comfortable. I wanted him to be on edge. Long story short, the whole game, Kevin's like, what's he mean? Baldy, you going to be with me? You coming with me after the game? Like, what's going on? And I didn't say nothing. I'm like, Kevin, look, you just keep blocking him. You're doing fine. We actually beat the Eagles on the last play of the game. Billy Brooks catches the touchdown pass, the final play. We beat him. So there's Reggie holding his prayer service. And, he wants Kevin, he's waving Kevin over, come on in. And that's what it was. It was just like, I'm going to help you out, Kevin. I'm going to beat your ass this game, but I'm going to help you out after the game in this prayer service. So, there was only one Reggie. I played with him. It was a lot easier playing with him and practicing with him than it was playing against him.
I bet. All right, let me ask you about we get some July 4th stuff coming up we want to talk to you about. Yeah. Let me ask you about I saw this graphic, and you know what we do this time of year, Baldy. You're NFL Network, so we got to find stuff before training camp to talk about. It's a lot of lists. Eagles weren't considered a top 10 offense in one of these top 10 lists, and so we have it right here. Wow. The top 10 offenses in the NFL. Tell me if you think this is ridiculous. San Francisco 1, Kansas City 2, Detroit, Rams, Bengals, Dolphins, Packers, Bills, Texans, and the Colts. The Colts ranked ahead of the Eagles as an offense in the NFL? Where do you think the Eagles fit into the top 10 as far as their offense?
Well, maybe the Eagles should bring Shane Steichen back. Like the offense fell apart without him last year. Look, I think the Colts. I'm bullish on the Colts, but I don't believe they're a better offense in any way than the Eagles. I think the Eagles have position by position, offensive line, quarterback, receivers, tight end. Running back. I would take Saquon over Jonathan Taylor right now behind this offensive line. I like the J Train. He's a solid Jersey boy, but I think the Eagles. I know the way they finished. I think Kellen Moore, is going to make a difference. I think the fact that they committed to a lot of these guys in the offseason is going to make a difference. I think the addition of Saquon is going to make a difference. I think the Eagles are going to be a really good offense this year.
All right, forget the fact that you're on in Philadelphia right now, Baldy. The San Francisco 49ers offense, who's the better offense, Eagles or Niners?
Well, I'd have to say the Niners. Look, Brock Purdy he's been the best quarterback in the league since the day he started, midway through his rookie year. He's the highest rated quarterback. In every single category, whether it's yards per attempt, whether it's, interception ratio, you name it, the guy's been a stud. So, and they've got basically, to me, I don't know how Christian McCaffrey wasn't the MVP last year. He was the MVP of this league. So you've got an MVP running back. Everybody is, whether it's Nick Chubb, Saquon, they all want to be Christian McCaffrey. Well, that's McCaffrey, with an elite play caller, in Shanahan. So I would take the 49ers right now.
Brock Purdy, people still don't want to give him credit, Baldy. Brock Purdy. For whatever reason, they don't want that.
It's interesting, John. I remember Brock Purdy's first game as an NFL player was against the Dolphins. Came off the bench. Garoppolo got hurt. Dan Marino was on the sideline. He wears number 13 in honor of Dan Marino. He goes out there and he looks like Dan Marino right away. So the next week they play Tampa at home, and I'm doing the game. So I see all the guys. I see Debo, I see McCaffrey, I see Kittle, and I say, what did we see last week? Is this who he is? He goes, just wait and see. Well, this is what he was like in training camp. This is what he was like every day in practice against our defense. They all swore by him. They all swore that this kid, and they weren't just being good teammates. They literally said, this kid is going to be special. The guy is unbelievable. He sees the field as well as anybody in this business right now, and he has magical touch because they love to attack the middle of the field.
Right.
If any Eagle fan remembers the 49ers scoring on 6 straight drives, touchdowns in 6 straight drives in that blowout win, they attack the middle of the field. And those are difficult throws. Those are layered throws, over linebackers, over underneath defenders, in front of safeties. He does it as well as anybody.
Hey, Baldy, first of all, your shirt's getting some love in the chat room. They say it looks like a fresh, brand new white one you got on today. And are you bullish on the Bills? The Bills were ranked in that top 10 offense thing by NFL.com pretty high. And I'm looking on BetParks. They have the 6th best odds to win the Super Bowl. And they lost a lot on offense, it felt like. Are you surprised at the love? Are you bullish on the Bills?
I think you have to be. Just because of the talent of Josh Allen. The talent is real. The guy accounted for 51 touchdowns last year. Between running and throwing, 51 touchdowns, counting the playoffs. I think he's going to win a Super Bowl. I don't think there's any weaknesses to his game. I don't care if he throws X amount of interceptions. The guy's dicing people up. They changed their offense midstream last year. They ran the ball a lot more than they threw it. I think Von Miller back, just talking to Von this weekend, his knee was never right last year. But you watch him in a playoff loss to Kansas City, he looked like Von Miller. You put Von looking like Von with all these young guys they've got there. You put their linebackers back on the field. You put this offense out there with Josh. I think they've won the division 4 years in a row. I know people are bullish on, Miami. You see Miami's offense is good. I don't think their defense is going to be very good. The Jets have to do it. They're talented, but they have to do it. I like the Bills. I like the Bills to win their 5th straight division title in a row.
Okay.
Baldy, what is Jerry Jones doing down in Dallas? Forget about Dak Prescott, final year of a contract, and they have to, his cap number is $55, $56 million. But every wide receiver, every young elite wide receiver in the league has been getting a new contract, or like A.J. Brown needs a new contract. He gets a new contract. Meanwhile, CeeDee Lamb says he's not going to report to training camp. He's still looking for that contract. And who else am I missing Micah Parsons. He's going to get the most money of any non-quarterback when he gets paid. Every month or week that Jerry has been waiting, he ends up going to have to pay more money for these guys. What exactly is Jerry doing down there?
Well, I mean, he needs to go to like a remedial school and how to manage the cap. He needs to learn from Howie. Like, nobody's better than Howie. Nobody's better than what they do in Kansas City. Nobody's better. Like, you look at these elite teams, San Francisco, Kansas City, Philadelphia, they handle the cap. They take care of their own. Players outplay their contracts. They take care of them. Saquon couldn't get money in New York. He get it in Philly. Like, I don't know who Dallas is paying, Johnny. Honestly, like, their two best players are who you just explained, CD and Micah. Like, it shouldn't even be – they shouldn't be going to camp worrying about this situation right now. But this is where they're at. They did the same thing last year. Zach Martin said, I'm not coming to camp. They took care of Zach, but it shouldn't have gotten to that. He's a 5-time first-team All-Pro offensive guard. I don't know who they're paying and why they're in this trouble. Be honest with you. They're going to start 2 rookies in their offensive line. Another offensive lineman is a first-round pick on a rookie contract. The right tackle's a free agent who doesn't garner a lot of money. They're not paying any running backs. Like, who are they paying that they're in this salary cap hell? Like, it's ridiculous. And so it really goes to management. And this is on Jerry and his sons for being in this situation right now.
Dak's taking up so much of the cap because they won't extend them.
All right. Everybody knows that if you get an elite quarterback, you got to pay a quarter of your cap is going to your quarterback. They did this with Jalen Hurts last year. They knew it, but yet they still found money for Atlanta Dickerson, Mailata, Saquon, AJ, Devontae. They took care of their guys.
They've paid everybody. Jeffrey Lurie's paid a ton of money. You just space it out. You make it, Dak Prescott's cap number this year isn't a lot because you space it out over the life of the contract, and you can sign guys that he can't. Do you think it's possible Dak isn't back with the Cowboys next year?
I think it's a possibility. Considering, the playoff record, as much as he is to that franchise and the face of the franchise and everything, I think it's a possibility. I mean, all these guys, Quinn Ewers coming out next year out of Texas, I can see them going, let's reset this thing. Like, we can't afford all these guys. Let's make maybe they can't make it work right now. At least, on July 3rd, John, they're not making it work. I think it's a possibility right now. The longer this thing goes on, the more that possibility becomes real.
All right, guys, it's July 3rd. So July, I don't even know, where are you right now, Baldy? You literally could be anywhere in the world. Are you over here in the East Coast, or are you still out in Vegas?
I'm looking out at the ocean right now. It's calling my name. I think when I get done, this next thing I got to do, I'm going to definitely take a dive here today for sure.
Nice. All right. So what's the plan for July 4th for you?
I have a barbecue here. Me and my girlfriend, we got a barbecue. We got it's small, probably like 10 people coming over tomorrow. So we'll do that. Then on the 5th, I'm flying to L.A. My nephew's getting married. Come back, go to the offense line masterminds down in Dallas. So join Lane and the group down there. Probably have like 400 people this year. And then I'm heading to Italy. Go live the life in Sardinia for 8 days.
Guys, my next life. Right there.
Baldy. Baldy, let me ask you. You're the wisest, most well-rounded, cultured person I know. Everyone's assuming Johnny Mark says he doesn't know what the pineapple means. Are you aware of what this pineapple signifies in the real world?
Yeah. Can I say that on the air?
Yeah.
Let's let Johnny figure it out.
I did figure it out. I was naive to it until some old lady was like, "Why is she?"
He had an upside down one in a shopping cart. It was weird.
It's right here. Baldy had no idea. I was like, "Good. She's with her husband. Why is she talking to me like that? She's getting fresh." And oh, that's why.
There's only 2 things that really matter in this world, John. It's food and it's sex. So it usually falls into one of those 2 categories. All right.
Well, one thing that's on the menu after the July 4th party tomorrow for you, Baldy. What's on the food menu? Because this is the meat locker, and I'm sure Butcher Box has sent you some things. So what are we going to be eating tomorrow night?
Well, I mean, I'm a straight carnivore, John. So I haven't had a piece of fruit in 9 months. So I mean, it's straight carnivore. I mean, we got ribeyes, we got burgers, we got strip steak, my new favorite, because it's 3 minutes on each side, and you just start to eat. And so I don't know. Let the girls like put their salads together. They can have all that kind of stuff. I'm just eating straight meat tomorrow, John.
Baldy.
Straight meat, probably a few tequilas, washing it down, and I'll be in a great frame of mind.
Baldy, JP over here. I'm really hooked right now on the skirt steak.
Yeah,
it's my thing right now.
Yeah, good flavor.
Here's the other thing: the skirt steak is killer because the flavor is real, and it takes 6 minutes of your time to cook it. But look out for the chuck roast.
Okay.
The chuck roast now is a thicker cut, right?
Yeah.
But it's a third of the cost of a ribeye. So, and then it's marbleized with this fat. And if you don't like the fat, okay, if you just want the lean meat, you just cut it right out. But I like the fat. The fat's good for it. So the chuck roast now, it's literally under $8 a pound. Like you can't go wrong. You can't eat enough of it. And the flavor, if you just salt, pepper, and have that marbleized fat, you can't go wrong. The chuck roast is a hidden meat in my mind.
I'm going to try that out. Now, are you a chicken guy, Baldy, at all?
Of course.
Are you prefer breast or thighs?
Hey, now.
I'm all breast.
Chicken wow.
Give me all the breast you can get, man. I just like biting into that and just getting a good chunk,
Well, we know in the past you're a butts guy. Any smoked butts tomorrow?
I'll do some of that. I'm not a big the smoker thing is good. I like my ribs on a smoker. But I also I'm pretty particular. Like I'm a great rib cooker. Like I like boiling my pork ribs for an hour and then put them on the grill and just, flipping them, put a little marinade on there, a little peach apricot marinade or something, sweeten them up some, little barbecue maybe, little stubs on there.
Nice.
But literally 5 minutes aside on a hot grill after you boil them, like the meat's falling off the bone.
I'm in.
Delicious.
Now I'm
Baldy,
more hungry.
Enjoy the 4th, man. Thanks for hopping on with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure, Johnny. Good seeing you, buddy.
Good seeing you, buddy. There he is. Brian Baldinger in the Meat Locker, sponsored by Butcher Box. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your weekend, and we will talk to you later, back on Monday. Everybody have a good weekend. See you.
We all silly like the mayor.